Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Seth Engen from Computer Know-How. In fact, he was the co-owner of that, founded it quite a while ago, back when ColdFusion 4 was out. And we're going to be talking about adventures with ColdFusion and ContentBox in the wild. So not just theoretical, but practical. And we'll check in what ContentBox is, how it's different from other open source ColdFusion CMSs, why you should be using ContentBox Themes and some of the amazing stuff you can do with them, how ContentBox widgets make it easy to program common business needs, how creating modules helps with integrating ContentBox to other software. So welcome, Seth.
Thanks for having me.
So let's just start off, for folks who don't know, what the heck is ContentBox?
Well, ContentBox, as the website and some of the documentation indicates, is just an open source CMS, content management system. It's very similar to like WordPress or something like that. But for us, those familiar with ColdFusion and have written and programmed in ColdFusion over the years, ContentBox is written in ColdFusion and built on top of ColdBox. Some of the Ortus solutions, suite of products, some stuff that we've interacted with for about as long as we've interacted with ColdFusion overall, but just a really solid content management system for your use in your business and the things that you do on the web and those things that you need custom programmed. So a great content management system for your use.
Cool. So, there's a lot of open source ColdFusion CMSs out there. Mura, Far Cry, is it Preside, if I'm thinking of the name right? So how is ContentBox different from those, other than it's built on top of ColdBox?
Actually, that is probably the biggest difference, I think. I haven't had a lot of experience with those. I think it differs, and even with other non-ColdFusion based CMSs, but they've really built ContentBox with security in mind. As initially, very much a modular architecture. Designed it, and we've seen this with some of our business customers and their successes, designed it to scale. And then not only their interaction with us, but our interaction with the ContentBox team, the Ortus team, really support being a huge benefit. I mean, to be clear, you can get a lot of different content management options and solutions out there, but are they supported? And ContentBox is that's, I think, one of its strengths is support. So not only with a company like ours or directly with the Ortus team, just a great supported product as well. So, and scalable. So not only does it work well, it's well supported. So
cool. So tell us a bit about ContentBox Themes, what they are, and what amazing things you can do with them.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure that this is actually probably the one place where ContentBox is very similar to other content management solutions. I mean, we're dealing with in theming essentially HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So this is the one area where it's probably most like other content management systems, but with ContentBox, I think there's a real power. Obviously, there's other content management solutions that are built in ContentBox, but they really give you, being familiar with Fusion, the ability to tie in very quickly with the kind of programming that you like to do. We've used them over the years. After we get past the initial just basic theming of the site, we've used them to build some custom menus that work with like Twitter Bootstrap, for example, being able to tie into something that in ContentBox is called the ContentBox helper. And we can very quickly get to the data of the menu and then wrap that as we need it to theme it properly. I mean, sometimes you seem to be a bit painted into a corner, as they say, as far as how the structure of the code comes across. And with ContentBox, it's been very customizable. The CB helper has helped us to do that. That's one example. But they really give you access to the underlying features of not only the content management system, but also just really digging down into the core. Not only because it's open source, but giving you access to kind of the underpinnings of the CMS, and allowing you to get kind of as deep as you want that way, and go as custom as you want. So that's where I really feel, after you get past the basic theming of it, it differs quite greatly from other options. So we love the customization capability. I'm going to talk a lot about that today and in my talk upcoming. So
can you give us an example of something you've done using customizing the theme for a particular business? Or
actually probably one of the biggest things that we've had a problem with initially was the basic menu system that comes out of like the default theme in ContentBox is like every other content management system, wrapped with a bunch of code that may or may not work with the styling that you're trying to incorporate. And with ContentBox, we were able to tie directly into the CB helper and pull just the data and develop the menu exactly the way we wanted to build it. Additionally, and this isn't the custom solution I'm speaking of, but they've got a menu builder built in now that allows you to do some of these same things. So they're giving multiple ways for a person, whether it's a programmer or somebody who's just a customer wanting to use the product. They're giving a number of different options for you to answer those needs with various tools throughout the system. So the menu system is probably the one that comes to mind, giving us really full control. We were able to do whatever we wanted to with that system. Make that menu look exactly the way we wanted it to look for that site. So
cool. And is basically a theme in ContentBox pretty similar to a theme in WordPress or Mira or any other CMS? Or
yeah, I would say so. As I mentioned, I haven't worked with those a great deal, but as I mentioned, theming is so much so similar across CMSs. I mean, when you really get down to it, regardless of what the content management system is built on, you're really dealing with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript at the at the most core level. The question is, what capabilities then above the HTML, CSS, and JS do they give access to? And that's where you're really able to tie into the ContentBox system and make it work for your needs. So.
Is there a place where you can download themes other people have made, or?
Yeah, it comes with some, depending on what version you're running. I think the older versions came with 4 different themes built in. There's actually something called Bootswatch that I was originally a part of working with, and Bootswatch is nice. It's based on a project out there, bootswatch.com, I believe. And that allows you to toggle between, I don't know the exact number. I mean, I don't know if it's quite 20, but, certainly, 15 different themes that you can kind of flip back and forth. But you asked the question, where can they get others? There are some other options out on ForgeBox, which is the capability in ContentBox to go out and download widgets, themes, and modules that people have built. So
cool. So you mentioned widgets. What exactly is a ContentBox widget, and how does it make it easy to program common business needs?
Widget's just a ColdFusion component. It's actually a singular file, a CFC, that you can write some logic into to handle, whatever the requirement that you have is. Then it's really just a drag and drop into the system, and it'll detect the widget, and then you can place that essentially on your page. We've used them to, I'll just give you a couple of specific examples. We've had, a lot of customers come to us. The first thing they ask for is, maybe something like a business directory. They want to be able to show maybe some clients that they work with, or different municipalities will want to list maybe their departments and their phone numbers. And so we're able to leverage what's in ContentBox called the content store. And content store is just basically a warehouse of, whatever structured information you want to put in there. And then you can leverage that with tools. We built a widget called Data Listing Widget, and I'm going to go over this at the conference too. The Data Listing Widget basically iterates over the content store elements in a specific category. And so, like in the example of a business directory, you're able to essentially put that directory in front of the users on a page with that widget, the data listing widget. One other thing we do with that data listing widget, we actually use it in a couple different real world sites to do frequently asked questions, which allows us to wrap other things around it. Because we're dealing on the base level in the content store with just data, we're able to allow the customers to update their own information, and the customer then doesn't have to interact with the HTML, the JS, the JavaScript, or the any CSS. We're allowing them to type in information, to publish that information via ContentBox, but then we're doing the work to loop over that, whether that's in a frequently asked questions example or a business directory situation. And that's both of those examples where data listing was used. One other way that we seem to get a lot of requests for, like the listing of media items, like maybe in a business, they want to post their agendas every month. They have a meeting and they want to post the agenda before, or maybe even the minutes after. They want an easy way. Customers want an easy way to be able to upload these documents without being able, or without interacting with HTML again, or needing to know how to program and things like that. So through the ContentBox file or media manager, they're able to just go into a folder, drop the file, and then the widget, which is just something we call file listing widget, iterates over those same files and puts those on the page. So what we're really excited about is when we can take either a widget or some solution with a theme and take some of the complexity out of updating a site for the customers. They don't want to be programmers. They want to get their sites updated quickly. And so ContentBox really allows them to do that. And through some of these capabilities that we're given to build widgets, and eventually here we'll talk about modules too today, but really gives us the ability to take kind of the programming out of it for them, but give them a capability to update their site easily and quickly. So.
Cool. So with the widget, you have a CFC behind it, and some of the properties of that CFC are exposed in the user interface, so the users can tweak the values and change its appearance, or change how the data is sorted, or anything of that nature. Yeah,
when you're placing a widget in ContentBox, you're able to, there's basically a singular module, or a modal rather, that popped up, and that will have all the configuration options we've exposed via the widget to, as you mentioned, maybe sort the data, ascending or descending, to maybe turn certain things on or change maybe even which column is sorted. Data listing widget, which actual data is exposed or presented to the front end. So yeah, when you're placing the widget, there's an ability to change what is some of the options for the widget. So yes, that's exactly right.
Cool. So you mentioned ContentBox modules. How are you using those to integrate with other software, Seth?
Yeah, it's great. Great question. That's actually, a huge need. I mean, obviously we're not an island. Any customer that comes to us usually has some kind of an integration that they want to do. And modules is typically a module is just a basic, ColdBox module or ContentBox module, and you're able to, we can custom develop, whatever we want in that. It usually is accompanied by a widget. In a lot of cases, it's accompanied by a widget that then it, exposes some of what that module maintains. But a couple specific examples, customers will typically come to us with e-commerce requirements. Some not-for-profit sites will ask for online donation capabilities. Obviously, you can do stuff like PayPal and things like that, but we actually put together a donation module, which I'll be going through as well, and that integrates directly with Stripe. So you can change some settings in the module. You can deploy a widget in a couple different ways. One, kind of a full donation form, but also kind of a smaller little simple widget for like the homepage to do like a call to action, for that person to donate, some money to that organization. So the donation module is integrated with Stripe. We've actually built a module that actually also utilizes something called Full Calendar, which a lot of people may have heard of. So it's really taking Full Calendar and bringing it together with the Google Calendar API. And the end product for our customers is just a calendar for the customers to, or for their visitors to see. But the neat thing is they're able to interact with Google Calendar to do the data entry. So there's no interaction after the widget's been deployed to ContentBox. Their interaction is through the Google Calendar login, and then that just flows to their site directly. So that's another example of integration with a ContentBox module.
And then how are modules called? Or is there an event that fires them off, or?
Well, as I mentioned, the widget is typically how they're exposed, if that's what you mean. You're going to usually, like with the Full Calendar module, we change some basic settings in the module, like where we're tying back, to what Google account we're tying back to. That'll get set in the ContentBox module itself. But the actual the part the visitors to the site see is actually done through the widget. So then the widget is tying back into. So it's typically, when you're at the most base level, when you're deploying it to the page, it's usually done in a widget or from a widget. So
cool. So in your talk, Into the Box, are you going to be showing some code examples as you go through all these things? Or?
Yeah, my goal is to, we're obviously, talking to fellow developers. The goal is to get into as much code as possible. Once again, stay away from the theory, if possible, and really talk real world application. We've had experiences. We've been working with ContentBox for years now. I've done numerous talks at both Into the Box and what was ColdBox Developer Week, now Ortus Developer Week. And, we talk about a lot of theory. We talk about, okay, here's a simple site, but that doesn't necessarily get you to point B with your customers. Like, how do I, how can I get this calendar out there? Or how can I present this data on my site? How can I quickly get my agendas out in front of my customers? How can I take donations? And so the goal is to talk real world business needs. But as you mentioned, I want to dig into code and show them the real rubber hits the road kind of point is you can develop custom software, but you still have to tie into the underpinnings of ContentBox. And so I really want to highlight those areas, the places where they can take control of ContentBox and the page presentation or rendering, and show where those connections are made. One other example, it's not a completed project, but we're actually working on some internationalization stuff, some English, Spanish translation. So showing how they could do that with their sites as well. So we're gonna be showing that. There's a bunch of projects. I don't know. I think I have an hour's time how I'll actually get through all of them. We've got a neat project that integrates with the editor in ContentBox called CK Templates, which the goal with that project was simply to make the editor on the admin side of ContentBox look as much like the what the customers will see, what the visitors will see the website. We've heard of what you see is what you get. The goal was to make it as much like what you're ultimately going to see on the front end website. That's a really neat project. We're going to hit on another project that allows you to drop font awesome icons into your themes. So really, I referenced when I talk about this talk that I'm going to be doing a field trip. I really want to do a kind of a walkthrough and just have as much fun showing some of the things that we've built. And honestly, I think probably everyone, but maybe the one I just mentioned, the internationalization module, I'm not sure if it'll be completed, but every one of these is going to be available on GitHub. So and ForgeBox. So people should be able to just go to their ContentBox installs and download these and use them. So I mean, this isn't just here's what we built. I hope you can build something that's cool. This is really an opportunity for them to take exactly what we've built and maybe even make it better. But it'll be available, for people to download and to use in their own projects as well. So
fabulous. Well, that sounds great. Let's just change to a slightly different topic, which I'm asking every speaker I'm interviewing, which is, why are you proud to use ColdFusion?
Well, some of it goes back to my first interaction with ColdFusion. Probably most of it goes back to that and the amount of time I've worked with ColdFusion. But I was, believe it or not, it was late 90s, interacting with ColdFusion in its earlier forms. But when I looked at what it took to do certain things, with the ColdFusion language, I was immediately struck by kind of the simplicity of it, and just started building from there. It's just a great tool, great language, what I consider to be very, direct in it, the way that you implement certain things. So, and I think that's why we've seen, the success like in products like ColdBox, ContentBox over the years, the tools that we've put together, just fell in love, and I've loved building programs with ColdFusion ever since. So
cool. So sometimes, we see posts saying ColdFusion is dying, and they've been around for 10 years and ColdFusion is still alive. But let me just ask you this. What would it take to make ColdFusion even more alive this year?
Yeah. Well, I think ColdFusion has a great community, but a lot of people, they are having opportunities, in other languages, things like that. And there's a thought that ColdFusion, is dying. We get a lot of requests from customers looking for ColdFusion support. But I think, community is key. Education, like we're seeing at the conference, like, what we're doing with Ortus here. Great examples of, education. I know later in the year, typically Ortus Developer Week. So education is big, really, showing people kind of the similarities, how you can create maybe even in an easier way in ColdFusion, what they're doing in other languages. But communication amongst developers, education, the community is definitely key. And it's a little bit what we're doing here today too. So, but that's what's gonna, just to get the word out, and a lot of people have a lot of weird ideas about what ColdFusion is, really old information, they say that it's, the syntax is, and it's changed a lot over the years. And I think people have, some old information, and it's really, so getting the word out that way, I think is, will be key. So.
Cool. So what are you looking forward to at the Into the Box conference?
Well, Into the Box, anytime we can get together, we do Ortus Developer Week is online. But anytime we can get together, the people that we meet there, the networking that we can do is my favorite part. A lot of smart people. I love to learn, and there's a lot of people speaking on a lot of different topics. Excited to learn, but honestly, mostly the networking is a huge draw for me, and being able to kind of rub shoulders with some great friends and great co-developers. So
fabulous. So how can people find you if they wanted to learn more about what you do?
Yeah, probably the most direct way, which also has our contact information on, is our website. That's compknowhow.com. It's short for computer know-how. It's CompKnowhow.com. Definitely our website. Then all of our developers are listed out there and the services that we offer. And compknowhow.com.
Great. Well, we'll put that and all the other things that got mentioned in this episode in the show notes, which you can find on the terratech.com site. And I want to thank you for being with us today, Seth.
Yes, thank you for having me.